I'm Meeka 6, also known as the Moroccan Angel. If this is our first encounter, I would like to say hi and welcome to my channel. If you should find my content spiritually enlightening or informative, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. And please don't forget to press the like button. I want to start off by saying that if you should have any questions concerning the lessons that I teach, you can leave a comment or leave your request in the comments section. I do require that all comments and questions adhere to a strict code of decency and respect. This is not a platform to debate one's beliefs, but to understand the historical writings of the biblical text. So with that said, let us begin. This particular question is in response to a video I did previously entitled, "Did Jesus Defeat Death?" And this particular individual commented, according to the book of John, chapter 2, verse 19, Jesus raised himself from the dead. Jesus was and is Yahweh incarnate. He has life and death in his hands. Now I want to point out that even under this premise that Jesus raised himself from the dead, it does not eliminate the very real fact that Jesus experienced death. He still died. Death defeated Jesus on the cross. The New Testament scriptures confirm that at the moment of Jesus' death, death had control or sovereignty over Jesus. The original Greek text using the word kuriou, meaning to have lordship over, to have authority or rule over. Consider this. Shall death, at any point, even if for a moment, have rulership over God? Consider this. For one to claim that they are God immediately makes them immune to death. For death is placed upon mortals. It is the mark of men. Gods do not die. They are immortal. So in speaking of gods, in particular the God of Israel, he is the one who placed the judgment of death upon men. He does not die. His name alone confirms that. It means the Eternal One. One cannot have rule or sovereignty over death and then die or experience death. We know from the Garden of Gethsemane that Jesus is not the God of Israel. To state that Jesus is the God of Israel is to claim that Jesus is eternal, that he has never, that he will never ever experience death, that no part of him will die or experience death. And we know from the historical scriptures that this is not true. In the New Testament, Jesus died. He experienced death. In Romans chapter 6, verse 10, it says that the death he died to sin. In Revelations 1 and 18, the writer notes that Jesus himself said that he was dead. In Acts chapter 2, verse 24, it states that it was the God of Israel who released Jesus from the agony of death. It was the God of Israel who raised him from the dead. Now, there is a number of scriptures that confirm that it was the God of Israel who raised Jesus from the dead. But I want to focus on Hebrews chapter 5, verse 7, which states that during the days of Jesus' life, he offered up prayers and petitions with fervent crying and tears. Why was he crying fervently? Do you not know the meaning of crying and tears of the human? Strong crying reflects desperation, sorrow, and urgency, in this case, an urgent need for help. In Mark 14, chapter 36, Jesus noted to the God of Israel, I know you can do this, because I can't do this. And if it were up to me, I wouldn't do this. Jesus said, not my will, but your will be done. And in that same book, it says he went back again and cried to be released from what was coming, meaning he did not want to die. Not only did he not want to die, he didn't have the power to stop it. He was desperately reaching out to one who had the power and the authority to do what he could not. And what was it that he needed help with? What was it exactly that he could not do? Jesus could not save himself. He could not save himself from death. Jesus recognized that even though he believed and declared that the Spirit of the God of Israel dwelled within him, it is only through and by the Spirit and power of the God of Israel that he would be saved from death. Why? Because only the God of Israel has power and authority over death, because he alone instituted it. You see, to be in a state of death means that you have been overcome by death, subject to death. How can someone who is subject to death defeat death? The fact that they are dead shows that they did not defeat death, but death in turn defeated them. Jesus demonstrated unquestionably clear that he did not defeat death on the cross. He demonstrated through his crying and tears that he did not have power or authority over death. We see this plainly through his strong crying and tears, pleading to be spared from death, and the very real fact that he died. He was overcome by death. You see, Jesus had to rely on a power that was greater than himself, greater power and ability than his own. Who? The God of Israel. So what did Jesus mean in the New Testament book of John, chapter 2, verse 19, when he stated, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days"? This can only be understood within the context of which it was spoken. We have a mortal, a man, who was not only subject to death, meaning he was defeated by death on the cross, but a mortal who cried out to an immortal, the God of Israel, to save him from death, and acknowledged that only the God of Israel can save him from death, because the God of Israel is the one who instituted death. So how then does he say, if you destroy this temple, I will raise it again in 3 days? In order to understand the context in which Jesus spoke these words, we must first understand not only Jesus' relationship with the God of Israel, but there also must be a basic understanding of who the God of Israel is. What we hear is that Jesus is God incarnate, meaning the God of Israel incarnate. Well, let's delve into this. Let's get this whole thing about incarnation. Let's get it on the table. I'm the Moroccan angel. Do what is right. Always. It matters.